Hey, so in this lesson, we're going to multiply fractions. There's several different ways to show you how to do this. So I'm going to show you numerically, or using numbers, and the other way I'm going to show you is with a visual model. I want you to be confident in multiplying, and when you're stuck, I want you to be able to try something else to help you figure out the answer, okay? So the first thing is we're going to practice multiplying fractions using a whole number. So in this case, we're going to use the number 2 and multiplying that whole number by 4/5. Now I'm using grid paper. Number one, honestly, it's a lot easier to use grid paper with fractions because it allows you to draw your model equally. Remember, models are supposed to be as accurate as possible, so the spacing needs to be almost perfect. Grid paper is great for this. So 2 times 4/5. Let me show you numerically what that looks like. So anytime we're using the number 2, it's written as a whole number, but it can also be rewritten as a fraction. So 2 times 4/5 also is written like 2 divided by 1, which is 2, times 4/5. Okay? Now, when multiplying, a strategy, or the easiest way to do this, is to multiply your numerators and then multiply your denominators straight across. So 2 times 4 is 8, and 1 times 5 is 5. I know this is an improper fraction, so 5 can be divided into 8 one time with 3 left over, okay? Well, we're not quite done yet. That is an easy strategy to help me actually multiply fractions. And that often has to be done in middle school, but I need you to understand what actually happens. So I'm gonna break it down a little bit more for you. So using the grid paper, we're gonna draw a visual model. Well, I have this fraction 4/5. And I remember that multiplication is repeated addition. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna actually draw a model, and the denominator is 5, so that's why I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And I'm gonna shade in 4 of those 5, 4/5, okay? That's one set of 4/5. But remember, I need 2 of them because it's 2 times 4/5. So I'm going to do it again. And once again, I'm going to shade in 4 out of the 5. So we need to look at this all together. I've got 4/5 over here and 4/5 over here. So 4/5 plus 4/5 is 8/5, which we found out earlier. 8 divided by 5 is 1 3/5. Okay? All right, let's try another one. This time we're gonna multiply a fraction by a whole number. So we have 2/3. And we're gonna multiply 2/3 by the whole number 6. So once again, I'm gonna show you numerically what we can do to solve this, and then I'm gonna show you using a visual model. So we take the original fraction, 2/3, and we want to repeatedly add 2/3 6 times. 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3. To speed that up again, I can multiply actually by 6 over 1. So what we stated before, we're going to multiply our numerators straight across. and multiply our denominators straight across. 2 times 6 is 12, and 3 times 1 is 3. So when I take a step back, remember fractions is a form of division. So 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4. Now that is easy said with numbers, but I want to show you a number line model this time. Previously, we drew a model using rectangles. This time I want to use a number line. So every 2/3 we're going to mark on a number line, okay? So let's say that we're starting off with 0 right here, okay? And each interval or tally mark, okay, that's called an interval, we're going to label, it's actually a tick mark, sorry, not a tally mark, it looks like a tally mark. Each tick mark we're going to label a third. So that's 1/3, that's 2/3, okay? To keep track, I'm going to jump once, okay? That's one set of 2/3. 3/3. And then it starts over because that's as 1/3. And that's 2. So this will be 2 1/3, 2 2/3, and jump. That's 4. Remember, we need 6. Three 1/3. That's 5. We're getting closer. And that's 6. So when we look at 2/3 times 6, our answer is found right here, 4. Okay. This time we're gonna practice multiplying a fraction by a fraction. So we're gonna use the example of 3/4 of 7/8. I want to kind of include this information a little bit because if you were reading a word problem, the word of would be used right next to a fraction. So 7/8 of 3/4 or 3/4 of 7/8. That is often how you would hear it from a word problem, okay? So once again, we're going to show the numerical way, and then I'm going to show you another model that you can use when multiplying a fraction by a fraction. So multiplying straight across, 3 times 7, those are my numerators, is 21, and 4 times 8 is 32, okay? So what does this look like as a model? Well, first off, I know that I want to use a model that's easier to work with. So this first denominator is a 4. So I'm going to go down vertically 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second denominator is an 8. So I want to go across horizontally 8 units. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I want to go ahead and fill that in. That's the area. My area is 4 units by 8 units. So I'm going to look at this very first fraction, 3/4. So when you have a fraction of a 4 as the denominator, I'm going to divide my model into 4ths. Okay? And there's a 3 as the numerator, so I'm going to shade in 3 of those 4. All right. But we need to focus on the other fraction as well, 8ths. So this time we went horizontally. Now we're gonna go vertically, up and down, and we're gonna divide the section into eighths. And I'm gonna pick a different color. I'll pick yellow. And once again, I'm gonna color in vertically my numerator, which was 7. Okay. Now, you're probably wondering, where is my answer found? Well, where the two colors overlap is your answer, your final sum. So where your two colors overlap, there's actually 21 out of the 32 that are shaded. Okay, so sometimes you might actually see a mixed number like 1 1/2, and they're asking what is 1 1/2 of 3 2/3. Okay, so we're going to review, and this is important to know that when you multiply mixed numbers, it gets kind of complicated. So what's happening is that you want to multiply your whole number by your whole number by your fraction, and then you want to multiply, let me get a different color, your fraction by your whole number and your fraction by your fraction. That seems really complicated. So to help you break this down into an easier method, we like to rename our mixed numbers into improper fractions. So to do this, we multiply our denominator by our whole number and add our numerator. Multiply our denominator by our whole number, which is 9, and add our numerator. Okay? So from here, we can multiply straight across. 3 times 11 is 33. 2 times 3 is 6. This is an improper fraction, so we want to make sure we divide 33 by 6. And when you divide 33 by 6, you get 5 3/6. For those of you who have been practicing your simplest form, 3 is half of 6, so the simplest form is also 5 1/2. All right, last one, I promise. Sometimes you have a mixed number, maybe like 1 1/7. And we want to multiply that by 3. Well, I'm going to say it again. Multiplication is repeated addition. So this is how we can envision it. We can envision it 1 1/7 plus 1 1/7 plus 1 1/7. Another way you can do this is rename your mixed number to an improper fraction and repeatedly add 8/7 plus 8/7 plus 8/7. Either way, you're going to end up with the same amount. So if you were to repeatedly add the mixed number, you get 3 3/7. Or if you were to add your improper fraction, you would get 24/7, which is actually equivalent to 3 3/7. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Make sure that you maybe want to pause, go back to the beginning, create some fractions of your own, maybe with some dice, or if you have a sister or brother, just have them call out a random number and try to put this into practice. I know you got this.